ITP 263, Task 6, Assignment 3, Rehabilitation.
Hello, James. Thanks for coming in to Voc Rehab. Really glad to see you today. This is our third time meeting, and we've got some tasks in front of us to take care of so that we can help you in your goal of getting back to work. Tell me how have things been going for you the last couple of weeks. You've been checking the newspaper and seeing if there were any jobs that you were interested in. Did you come up with any ideas for jobs that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, I made a few calls and was taking a look. Found some things that are interesting. And I, went and visited a couple of them.
So are you thinking that you're going to be working again, or are you happy being a retired person?
I'm not retired yet. I still got plenty of work to do. I just had some surgery, that's all. Yeah, about 2 years ago. I had surgery on my spinal cord. There was a bit of pressure. There was a spot that it was constricted. So had to go in and get surgery to get that fixed.
So now are you able to get around like you used to before? Are you able to drive and live life the way you used to?
Yeah, little changes, but for the most part, yeah.
Many of the clients that I see have had some kind of a surgery or have had something wrong with their back, and they're interested in getting into some kind of work that's not going to hurt them. So what we could do, if you were interested, we could take a look at what jobs would still be open to you, even though you've had this problem with your neck. Would you be interested in looking and seeing, along with me, looking for what kind of jobs might be out there that you could do, maybe for 4 hours a day or 2 hours a day? Would you be interested in that?
I know my max is probably about 30 hours. It's too hard on my neck. I can move for the most part. Something that I struggle with is getting up from laying down. That's pretty hard because of my neck. It's pretty good for most of the day,
Tell
but
me
it
what
can
kind
get
of
weak pretty
work
quick.
you have done in the past. You said you've been an upholsterer?
I don't know how to... let's see. I used to work with that kind of stuff. Seeing if things would fit correctly. Once the doctor identified what was wrong with me, then I really had to cut back. I found out that there was something wrong with me when I was doing the work. My hands weren't working like they were supposed to. Then I had to go get my surgery. Shoot a couple months, and took a while to recover. I just can't do what I used to, 100%.
Tell me, did you have surgery on your hands?
No, it was on my neck. Just my hands were affected by what was happening to my neck because of the spinal cord being constricted. It was keeping my hands from working properly. It was like a slight paralysis. because there's some fluid in there, and it was really constricting, and stuff inside was swelling. So they had to open it up and drain it and all that fun stuff. I could feel like my body feels hot sometimes, and sometimes again I can feel a little bit of an odd sensation in my neck. It's about 6 months before it's fully recovered.
When you said that sometimes you do some work now around the house, what kinds of things are you doing? And what kinds of things are too hard for you to do? Do you do the laundry, for example?
Let me think for a second. I mean, stuff that's hard. I mean, I can't lift stuff above a certain weight.
Well, I'm imagining that the only kind of work that you would be able to do would need to be something where you could sit or stand or rest whenever you decided that you wanted to. And maybe a total amount of work of 4 hours a day.
Yeah, less than 4 hours. Yeah, 'cause the longer I'm up and about and moving around, my balance gets worse, my hands get weak, and I gotta sit down, sit up, sit down, stand up, all that kind of stuff.
James, what you told me about your work history was that you worked for 30 years as an upholsterer. That's a long time. Wow.
Yeah, I did.
Do you miss working, or are you happy to be retired?
I want to get back there again, but I know I can't. Sometimes, I try to look a little more, but,
When you try to work, do you try to do some upholstery jobs?
no, not really. I mean, if at all, little things. I can't do much every day in that field anymore. Just because of my neck and all that kind of stuff. It's affected me pretty bad.
Have you ever taught another person how to do upholstery?
I mean, I've taught a little bit. Teaching them how to tack and shape and all that kind of stuff. About 3 people tried to teach with all the skill that I've accrued over the years.
I'm wondering if we could find a job for you as a teacher's aide in an upholstery school. And you would be the person that could help the students when they're running into some trouble and they need some tutoring help. There's a school in this town that has a number of deaf students who are learning upholstery. And I'm thinking that you could be a very good assistant to the teacher. And those jobs are about 4 to 6 hours at a time. I think you have very beautiful language, and that the deaf students who are taking those classes would love to communicate with you in their first language of ASL.
All right. I mean, that's fine.
Well, we'll have to look into it. I'm going to see about having one of the people that I work with make some phone calls, and I want you to make some TTY calls to all of the different campuses around this area and ask them if they have any openings for teacher's aides. You can let them know that you're working with DVR and that if you need to have an interpreter for any training time, the DVR will pay for that, unless the school can afford to do it themselves. So that'll be our next step, and let's get back together in about 3 weeks. And in the meantime, you think about what it would feel like if you were working, let's say 4 hours, 3 days a week, as a teacher's aide in a community college. And you just try to imagine how that would be for you.
I don't have a TTY.
Oh.
My sister
I
lent
can
me
send
one.
you to the Eastern Washington Center for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, and they can get you hooked up with a TTY. And we can also have you work with the community.
My English isn't that good.
I have the feeling that some teacher a long, long time ago made you feel bad about your English. I think you are a very good communicator. I think you're a very successful communicator, James. And I've understood everything that you've said to me. And communication is not just the English language. And it's a struggle for anybody to talk in a language that's not their first language. So don't worry about that. If a TTY can help you and I to set up an appointment, then it's a good tool for us to use with each other. And I promise I will never criticize your English. So we'll work on those 2 tasks. The first task we'll work on is getting a TTY set up in your home and you taking some risk to feel a little more comfortable using that TTY with the darned English that it forces you to use. And I promise not to criticize you. And we'll make an appointment for our next time. And the second thing is, people in this office of DVR will make some phone calls and try to find out about some job openings for teacher's aides that have to do with upholstery and sewing. And you give some thought to how that'll work in your life, okay? And the next time we meet, it will be on the TTY, and we'll make an appointment with each other to get together, okay?
All right, we could do that. Might be a little hard for me to navigate the buttons, but, you know.
Would you like to communicate using a letter? Writing a letter back and forth? Would you prefer that? But for me to tell you when I hear about a job, or for the boss to call you and offer you a job interview, how will that communication happen at your home, James? How will we let you know? I don't think the boss is going to show up at your front door.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll talk about that again next time, okay? Thank you for coming in, James, and I look forward to seeing you again.